Investing in modern sealed Pokemon is a waste of time. For me. I know that sounds pretty inflammatory. I know some of you guys are coming in mad, hot, right off the press just seeing that headline. But bear with me. I'm going to be explaining to you why, for me, investing in modern sealed is a waste of time. And this isn't a video to tell you that it's bad and that you shouldn't do it. It's literally just to explain how I approach making money in this hobby and why that play for me would be a waste of time. There's 3 points of interest to explain why this is the case, and that's time, capital, and enjoyment. First thing that I'm going to do is introduce a hypothetical into the video. I'm going to use this hypothetical going forward to just explain my points. A hypothetical is just a made-up scenario in which some of these things could happen, maybe they won't happen. I don't necessarily think this hypothetical will happen. We're going to use it to be generous to those modern sealed collectors, and hopefully it will help to illustrate this point for me. So here's the hypothetical. Evolving Skies just came out, and I think it would be a great set to invest into long term. So I buy one booster box for retail price off of the Pokemon Center website. We're just gonna round this up for simplicity's sake to $150. Now within this hypothetical framework, we're gonna say that Evolving Skies' value is going to double within the time frame of 1 year. So it's gonna go from $150 to $300. We made $150 profit in 1 year. Now I have an anecdotal example of something that happened this past month, but I've been able to replicate this kind of gain every single month from the start of the year. So I bought a card last month, the Window Play It Promo Mew card, the Japanese exclusive promo card that came out in 2003. I got it for $150 off of Buy. It showed up. It was in mint condition. I sent it off for grading. It got a 9.5, and I sold that card just a couple weeks ago for $575. So I purchased the card for $150. I got it graded for $25, and then I sold it for $575, netting me a $400 profit over the course of 1 month. You might already see where I'm going with this, but we're going to hop into our first point of interest, time. So using our hypothetical, and to break it down very simply, with the same amount of capital, $150, our booster box doubled to give us a $150 profit in the course of 1 whole year. In the other example, a true example, something that just happened, I bought one card, got it graded, and sold it, and I made $400 profit in 1 month. The difference in the two scenarios was that it took me a long time to find those cards, to scout those cards out, to buy those cards, to get them in, and then to send them off for grading, get them back, and to sell it. Now, every single week, I am scouting tons of cards. I'm looking at probably thousands of cards every week, probably 20 hours a week of just browsing Buy and trying to find cards exactly like this to make that money during the month. Now, a lot of people don't have that much time to scout cards, to look at different cards, to try and find these mint cards online. And I totally understand that. And I understand the time benefit of just being able to buy a booster box, throw it in the closet, wait for a year, and then sell it when it goes up in price. Maybe you're not making as much money, but you're not putting in as much work or time as I have to do to find those special buys. One other aspect of time that I think benefits me overall is I operate within a smaller time window. When I buy a card specifically for resale, I'm trying to buy that card and flip it within 2 to 4 weeks of me getting it in from Japan. So in this case, it kind of eliminates most of the speculation that a lot of people do when they're trying to invest long term. I am looking for ways to make money within how the current market is acting, not how the future market will act. So I feel a lot more confident that the PSA 8 price that I use to comp a lot of these cards is going to stay around that price for the amount of time that I get that card and sell that card. It would take something pretty major to happen within the 3 to 4 weeks for that card to go significantly down in value and for me to lose out on money. Whereas when you buy a booster box and you put it in the closet, you have to worry about multiple different things within that 1 year time frame. You could get 1 or more reprints, which could negatively affect the amount of money that booster box costs. There also might be thousands of people just like you who are constantly liquidating their booster boxes as they go up in price. So it might keep that price fairly low for a significant longer amount of time than maybe you want to hold it. So for me, there's a lot less stress when I'm working within such a short window to be able to make my moves. So let's talk about capital. When you buy a modern sealed booster box like we did with Evolving Skies and we threw it in the closet for 1 year, for that entire year, that $150 that you invested in that booster box, you can't do anything with. It's just sitting in the closet. The way that I personally choose to do things allows me to recoup faster, to make profit faster, and to reinvest faster. So ultimately, if you're willing to put in a lot of that time and effort up front, you can scale a lot faster and buy a lot more things throughout the year that are going to make you more and more and more money by the end of the year. That is at least the goal, all while your modern booster box is sitting in the closet. Now, I definitely do see there's a lot less risk in your scenario, just buying the booster box and putting it in the closet and hoping that either it goes up or down. Now, there's a lot more risk, or at least a lot more places along the way of the way that I do things where stuff can get messed up. The first could be that I could just not find a card. I could just not find a card online that I'm going to make that much profit on. The second could be if I find that card and I get it sent to me and it's not in the condition that I originally thought it was. I've had many times that that's happened. The third could be if it is in the condition that I thought it was and I send it off for grading and it just doesn't get the grade that I thought it would get. And the fourth would be if I get it back and maybe the card's too obscure, the card's too expensive, and it takes a lot longer for me to sell it if I'm able to sell it at all. There's definitely many more times along the way that you can get tripped up in the way that I do things, apart from going to the store, buying a booster box, bringing it back, throwing it in the closet. The last thing I want to talk about is enjoyment, whether or not I would enjoy investing in Modern Sealed, or if I enjoy the way I do things now, even though the risk seems to be a bit higher. To me personally, buying Modern Sealed is boring. I buy Modern Sealed with the intent of opening it, because I enjoy opening product and experiencing the cards. I like seeing the cards. I don't have a lot of sealed product at all, because to me, the cards are the important and interesting part of this hobby, not the boxes that they came in. I'm also not someone who really likes to speculate on long-term gains. I like to more play within a shorter time frame like we talked about before. So buying Modern Sealed, you're more speculating on whether or not that thing will go up or down long term, maybe even 5 years from now. I want to make my money in a way that feels more secure, that I understand what those prices are at now, and that's where I can make my money. I can be more confident that those cards are actually worth what they're worth now. And even though I spend about 20 hours a week looking at thousands of different cards, I learn a lot. I look at all sorts of cards that I didn't even know existed. I learn about new promos from back in the day, whether they're Japanese exclusive or English. And I learn a lot about the history of the hobby just in general by looking at a bunch of sets that I wasn't around for in the past. All of these things is super interesting to me, and I love learning about all this stuff as I'm going through and looking at all of these cards. And lastly, I just enjoy being active in every step of the process. The cyclical nature of how I approach things and every step along the way brings me that kind of endorphin rush that you would get just opening a pack and getting a hit card. I love finding that deal online on Buy, on eBay. I love getting that card in, seeing it in beautiful condition. I love sending it off for grading and seeing what grade it gets. And then I love that sale and seeing how much profit I made. Every step along the way, I am getting an endorphin hit. Every single step. With Modern Sealed, buying it and just throwing it in the closet, I have to wait for that endorphin rush, and it may never actually come. And lastly, again, this isn't me telling you how you should put your money into this hobby. You need to put your money into this hobby in any way that you want to, whatever brings you enjoyment. This video is about me telling you why Modern Sealed is not the right plan for me and where I find enjoyment putting my money into the hobby and making money in this hobby. Nobody should be out there gatekeeping, feeling like they're fighting the fight for modern or vintage. We should all come together. We're all Pokemon fans. We're all Pokemon card collectors in the end, and we should all be nice to one another. That's all I have to say. I hope you learned something. Let me know in the comments below how you interact with the hobby. Do you try and make money in the hobby, or are you purely a collector? How do you interact with the hobby? I want to know. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.